This is not just an experiment, but it's also our second news video, and we're going to start it off with Chris Jericho is set to star in a wrestling themed horror movie called Dark Match, where it is about a fledgling independent promotion that goes to a small town to run a show, and it is found out that town is uh, the town is ran by a cult-like figure that has evil plans for the show. I'm not one for horror movies, to be honest with you, so it sounds a little, hokey, but it is definitely an interesting concept for a movie, and I'm happy to see that more wrestling-themed movies are being made. I'm more looking forward to Iron Claw, the movie about the Von Erichs, than I am this horror movie. Not to say that it's not worth it, but it's just my taste in movies more than anything else. Speaking of my taste, there is no premium live event on WWE's calendar that I like more than the Royal Rumble. And the Royal Rumble is right around the corner again as we are approaching the month of January, which means the rumors for the Rumble are going to start running rampant. And questions are going to start being asked of who could be in the Rumble, who's not going to be in the Rumble. Will it be better than next year? Will it be better than last year? And I think the last question is a God, I hope so, because it can't be much worse. But we'll see what happens on that front as predictions for the Rumble are to come as we get closer to the premium live event in the month of January. But for right now, we talk about the rumors from WrestlingNews.co, and they are Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed Universal Championship, and Ronda Rousey versus Raquel Rodriguez, as well as, if that wasn't enough, Finn Balor will return as the Demon in a rumored gimmick match with Edge, and the rumored gimmick match with Edge is Hell in a Cell. I don't remember in 25 years, almost 25 years of being a wrestling fan, if in all that time I have ever seen the Royal Rumble house a Hell in a Cell match. So it would be something extremely and extensively interesting if we could see a Royal Rumble feature a Hell in a Cell. Thank God. Also, speaking of 2023, we will be seeing some TV production changes. I was going to do a separate video on this, but fact of the matter is, I don't know what type of TV production changes I would like to see from AEW outside of maybe changes that would make them stick out more. Like I still believe that maybe like some that I believe it was Kevin Sullivan would say that you use the B show to promote the A show, and you run an angle on Rampage and you follow up with it on Dynamite, but you make it believable but also make these certain angles believable. By that I mean you have if there's something outside the arena, don't have a camera follow up. Have somebody shooting with a phone camera, or like make it certain believable, certain things more believably that and make it a little bit more different than WWE, because you know how WWE does it, where a camera is always present, or 90% of the time a camera is always present. Do little subtle differences, and I know that with Michael Mansuri as the head of television production and executive producer, I am sure with his WWE roots and just in general being a solid guy, otherwise he wouldn't have been hired to institute said changes for AEW, then I'm sure he knows what he's going to do, but I'm excited to see what type of production changes they are referring to for AEW in 2023. I'm just all I would have to say is maybe some subtle changes here and there would do good for AEW as they try, especially if you want to. That's what I can say. Make Rampage and Dynamite feel different because the more different they feel, the more of an identity Rampage will establish. And I think that should be at the top of the list for AEW in 2023 to establish an identity for Rampage because Rampage is in desperate need of an identity. With that being said, we shift over to another bit of news, and another bit of news is that Kevin Owens was actually set to be featured on SmackDown this past week when John Cena announced that John Cena would be his partner. It was supposed to be Kevin Owens announcing, like, if you thought John Cena appearing was random, randomly appearing and interrupting the bloodline, that is because Kevin Owens was supposed to be the one that announced John Cena's random arrival, and that John Cena would be the one teaming up with him on the final episode of SmackDown of 2022. But due to travel plans, a nightmare travel plans, it became impossible for Kevin to join SmackDown or be on SmackDown this week. So plans were scrapped, and it was just left to Cena to do the announcement for himself via satellite. I mean, that makes sense, and also it allows for some breathing room for the Bloodline and Kevin Owens feud, because in my opinion, Kevin and the Bloodline don't need to be featured in the same segment every week, and having a little space between the segments for them is not a bad thing. But also, speaking of space between the segments, the main roster call ups have gotten a little bit more clarity under Triple H because I can understand Triple H not wanting to be like Vince as far as main roster call ups are concerned because NXT may not be his anymore, but it will always be his, if that makes sense. Because he has the understanding of how important it is not to just take somebody away from NXT and uh, and sorry, I got distracted and move them to the main roster. So with that being said, it'll be nice to see people have an official departure from NXT as opposed to just randomly being disappearing or like they're gonna smooth out the transition period. I think for the main roster for the NXT call ups, and that is gonna do nothing but help NXT talent make their way to the main roster in 2023. Another bit of news from the AEW side is that Saraya wants uh, AEW tag team titles for the women's division, which I think I understand her opinion, but at the same time, like the logic of it. I mean, I understand the logic of it, but at the same time, I don't agree with it because I don't think AEW needs more championships. You could figure out a way to get the women featured on AEW programming in a way that does not require you to bring in more titles to feature them on programming in that way, if that makes sense. But that might just be my opinion on the matter. The last bit that I want to mention is, or, well, first, yes, we will be doing the 2023 video, and each 2023 video predictions video will be a little bit different, or I will hope to be a little bit different. But that's the plan for one of the big videos, and also a recap video for 2023. I mean, for 2022, highlighting stream clips which I know used to be a premier feature here on the channel, but fact of the matter is that went the wayward way when original content became the focus for me on this channel again, like it should have been from the start, or like it originally was. But Goldberg is has his contract in flux with WWE at the moment and will not be featured at any time in the not too distant future because as of right now Goldberg's contract is ending and there is no rumors around Goldberg returning to WWE. So now the only question is, where does Goldberg go, or is Goldberg done with the professional wrestling business? And if WWE did re-sign him, what would you like to see him do? Let me know that down in the comment section below. Because in my opinion, I do think Goldberg still has stuff to give to WWE if WWE wants to use him. But the only question is how they would use him. And my opinion is that Goldberg could be someone that gives a rub to a lesser known talent and gives him that push up the card, because the one thing that's going to be pretty evident is that when Roman Reigns does not hold both world titles anymore and the two world titles are separated again, there's going to be a lot more contention for the world championships and a lot more need for depth at the top of the card, which isn't something that they've needed necessarily over the last 2 years because Roman's been the champion and you've only needed one challenger, pretty much. But these have been my thoughts on wrestling, and I just want to say, with it being a week before Christmas, yes, you're gonna get nauseated by the end of this. I just want to say, I'm a very happy holidays to those who celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah, and a very happy and healthy New Year for each and every one of you, because I am looking forward to a full year of content creation here on YouTube for your viewing pleasure, and I have a lot planned for your pleasure in a full calendar year next year. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you are as well. And with that being said, do not forget to ding dang that bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.